We're live.
Hey.
Hi.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you. Yeah, on a Saturday. Thank you for tuning in if you're here. If you are rewatching, we also appreciate that. We are excited to be streaming to you live on this wonderful Saturday. We've had a big week. About 1 week ago, 7 days, we launched a bunch of new courses on our website. And we launched Pathways, which are these like stepping stones to help lead you through all of the courses that we offer. There's quite a few up on our website. And we've had a lot of feedback from our users this week, just about things that we can fix on the website and things that they love about our website. And so we are thrilled to be growing the Teacher Academy on the site. We're also thrilled that we are sort of trickling back to school. Some states in the US are back to school. Some have yet a couple more weeks of planning and preparing and really teacher prep learning. But Sarah, I know you have a good story of the week. We were talking before this call, and I think everyone's just like, Zoom calls, like that's all I can think about. Like, what's on your mind this week with going back to school?
It has been nuts in all the good ways and all the challenging ways. Our district went back and we're full-fledged working with students and families, and teachers have been incredible at problem solving, creative thinking around how to solve those little challenges. I mean, almost every teacher that I've connected with, and I'm sure Kelly and Lisa would say the same, that it was a big jumble of dealing with the technology issues, like really kind of honing their skills around how to use the tools, while also just wanting to like see the kids' faces and make a personal connection. So that balance between like, how do I use this tool and how do I really see the students and feel connected to them seems to be like the two hot, topics of the week. And so it's just been incredible to see the ways that teachers have been doing that, supporting each other, reaching out for help. And we just keep saying like, go slow to go fast. This is a marathon. There are so many incredible tools out there. You do not have to have them all mastered the first couple of days of school, although it feels like you do, right? And so that's just been our message to our own teachers within our district. And also we want to send that message out to the HyperDocs community and anyone out there tackling remote teaching and learning, is like, give yourself grace and just know that you have all the time to implement these really incredible tools and strategies. And we so appreciate the energy to like get it right. That's, I think, why our teachers are feeling so down on themselves in a lot of ways. It's like just wanting to have everything perfect. And that is just who we are, right? Wanting to create these things, right?
But what is perfect right now?
I know.
This is unprecedented. We've never done this before. So that's the beautiful thing is it's going to be perfect. It reminds me of painting and not knowing what it's going to come out to look like. It's all going to be beautiful if you just accept that it's an unknown, right?
I need to ask, how many of you have a poster in your classroom that says first attempt at learning, fail, right? Is first attempt. And are you following that? It's time to like listen to your own poster advice in your classroom because it's got to be okay. And it's really a matter of how you're responding to it. And that sense of that loss of control is challenging right now. Because that is definitely taken away from you. And so we're learning to get comfortable with that, of not having it perfect and readjusting and problem solving. I have to say, Sarah, I'm in my dreams at night, I'm explaining Zoom to people. So it's just like all night, I'm just thinking of ways to explain last night, I spent probably all night explaining to someone how to set up a reoccurring Zoom link. So.
Wait, is this a dream? This is a dream you're having?
It's a dream. I'm doing it at night now. Like I woke up.
No.
Some people are the same in remote or when we're at school. It's those going back to school nightmares, worries about not having enough lesson plans. Are you in the right place? Do you have enough to share with the students? I think that's almost exactly the same, which is kind of kind of funny. But the tools are, still secondary, like Sarah was saying. I mean, it's always about the teaching. So if it's just Zoom, that you're using right now to connect, then step one, check it off the list. And remember that we're all first-year teachers this year. When you were a first-year teacher, you had all this learning to do around how to walk around the classroom, how to set it up, where do your tape desks go, where do the books go, what's the workflow for turning in papers, how am I going to collect papers, how am I going to grade, what's my classroom management, like how am I going to facilitate groups, all of that, everybody's doing new again, even if you've been in the classroom for 20 years and it's all online. So remember when you were new, you needed like a mentor, a friend, a buddy, and you really worked really hard in the beginning of the year and all year long. And that's just sort of like, we're all taking a step back to that. And I'm going to drop in the comments a video. It's called A Letter to Myself as a First-Year Teacher. And this video is produced by Soul Pancake. And they published this video a few years ago, but it's a teacher saying to themselves, like where they got afterward, like what that grace, that advice that we're saying, how can you remind yourself of that right now? Because you are a first-year teacher again, and it's okay. But take a minute to watch it because you might feel a little peace see this video.
Kelly, it's so fun to hear you mention that because it is always true. And I think most of us feel like first-year teachers all over again. I had a great chat with a teacher, a high school English teacher who is in a co-taught situation. And I was meeting with both the gen ed and the resource teacher. And they were so cute. They were developing table groups. They were calling them table groups, and they were just going to be their breakout rooms. But they're like, these are our table groups, and who's going to work best together? And just kind of relying on some of that good teaching and then just thinking, how can I digitize this practice? And so the idea behind that is like, once you get to know your students, you start thinking about who's going to work really well together and let's put them in the breakout rooms. And it's just awesome to see teachers lean into the familiar practices, right? And they're like not even calling them breakout rooms, they're calling them table groups, which I think is so clever. And such a smart way to bring kids together and to feel like you're in a classroom, right? So it's so neat to see how people are solving their own problems and thinking of ways to keep that same good teaching at the forefront. So I know, like Lisa, I know you're just itching to get in because you've had some incredible conversations around that teaching element, right? Like, does that get lost behind the tool? How do we send that up to the top of what we're doing, right?
Definitely. And Sarah, I think sometimes having those familiar terms and things that we can relate to, like table groups, is really important. But I am going to also point out the disconnect there. I know. Wow, that was scary. I know what that is. Let me fix my Wi-Fi here.
Some fun pictures coming through, Lisa.
Working on these Wi-Fi issues is a part of this week and getting used to that. And so I feel like I'm a little slow. If you've got multiple people in your house using Wi-Fi right now, that can happen. But I'm also seeing that people are trying to, reframe their brain about what learning and instruction looks like, how they used to do it, and trying to fit that into this new package is challenging as well. So while some terms are great, I'm finding that some things are translating or not transferring as well. And so we need to rethink about educating not only our kids, but their parents as well about what learning looks like, because everyone is getting a view into your classroom and into your instruction. And I'm hearing lots of comments like, well, they were done at 12 today, and so they must not be learning anymore. And I am finding that the real disconnect between what learning looked like in the classroom ever in terms of the way we deliver instruction. And what does think time do? What does work time do? Think about, I'm asking you, if there's parents in the, who's listening to this maybe, if you're at meetings, do you meet all day long? When do you get your work done? And I know, well, educators too. Are you in meetings all day long? Administrators, when are you doing your work? And you're the same as students. It's the same thing. When are we allowing kids to get work done and think time? And then how do we bring them back together and share that? How can we shift this craft to this new time? You guys, can I teach a little lesson today? Do you mind?
Yeah.
I'm itching for it. So
are you going to share your screen? Can I put your screen up on the thing?
I am. So let me get
stream. What am I don't have words today.
I know. Sorry.
Sarah, I was thinking, while Lisa's sharing her screen, I was thinking there's so many positives too this year. Like, we don't have to teach any bathroom procedures and like walk through the hallway procedures. Just saying, like, there's a silver lining there somewhere.
Totally. And I don't think we even know all the benefits yet. We are just getting started. So we're going to look back on this and see the benefits.
Yeah.
So I want to start off with one of my favorite things to launch your school year. And we always call this breaking up with your lecture. So you're really trying to shift from assigning work to teaching online, which is, it's we really need to rethink, how are we actually doing instruction? Is it synchronous? Is it recorded? Or how is this happening? I think that multimedia tech sets are the training wheels that launch you. They are the gateway of HyperDocs, and they really teach us how to, not only get our shift in the way we deliver instruction, but it teaches kids how to learn this way digitally. So I have this example. I have this multimedia tech set, and it is what is refugees. Now, I curated lots and lots of lecture. This was a whole unit around immigration, and I curated with my coaching partner, Scott Padway, all of our favorite resources for answering this question. And instead of lecturing this one day at a time, which I could have, definitely, instead we packaged it all in one place. And it's a multimedia tech set. Some of you may have heard them called choice boards, but actually we started making these in 2013. Multimedia tech sets, there's actually a book written about them, and we just expanded on them. And what we've done is we've put a variety of media in here. From this one in the top corner is all about maps for students to explore, where this one is just getting to the definition between immigrant and refugee. This one is getting in, a resource from the department, the State Department, so people who need real definitions for what that's looking like. We have videos, and you can tell they're videos. We packaged them cleverly on here because kids know the universal sign for YouTube is right there. We have stories, firsthand stories from adults and even kids on here that are very, very moving. So there's a whole lot of choice that students have. But how do you teach with this? I mean, literally, this is a doc with a lot of links. And you just give this out and say, have at it. Do you give 20 questions and say, answer these 20 questions and here's the resource? I implore you not to do that. And I want you to think about yourself as a learner, because if you give 20 questions to go along with that document, think about what your students will be doing. They will be going through those 20 questions and looking for the answer. And when they're done, they're gonna be like, I'm done. I did the work. They're being compliant. They're doing what you asked them to do. So if we want kids to learn how to explore and think deeply, we need to teach that lesson. And that maybe is your first lessons you're teaching. So here's how I begin. All right, class, you're my class today. I'm gonna give you 8 minutes today to explore this tech set. Now, I'll stay on this call and be quiet. I'm gonna put my microphone on mute. I want you to be quiet. You can put your microphone on mute. You can leave your camera on. You've got 8 minutes. I'm going to set a timer and call y'all back when it's time. But I want you to explore this tech set. And I want you to learn something in terms of answering this question. What is a refugee? I want you to explore any of these links you want. When you find something that you know or think or wonder or have a question about, would you please post your question, your thought, your wonders right here in the center where it says here. This is a Padlet. And on this Padlet, you can come to this and you can click the plus in the bottom right corner and you can post your question, your wonder, your aha. Now I'm here to tell you I'm watching who's posting on here and it has to be appropriate. So please remember your digital citizenship. All right, class, you have 8 minutes. Now, okay, I'm not really going to give you 8 minutes right now because that would be quite a live show, right, to let you go. So breaking the fourth wall here, that's what I would launch my kids with. Now, you know what? I might say tonight, go and take maybe 10, 15 minutes and look at this and post it, and then we'll come back tomorrow. So you could arrange it that way as well. I tend to like them the very first time. Stay on that call with them. And if they have any questions, they can drop their questions in the chat. But try not to answer all of these. Try to let them have a little discomfort with what does she mean? What is she talking about here? What's my expectation? How many do I have to read? Just learn something about what is a refugee. All right, class, time is up. I want you to all be looking at the screen because I'm going to share with you. I've been looking through some of your answers. This is now what you would come back and say. This is how you would teach from what they did. You had an expectation for them to explore, and you asked them to post their thinking here. You must now teach from this so they know that their thoughts, their questions, their wonders have a purpose and it means something and everyone's going to see it. So it elevates what you're asking for. Now I might look through this and see, oh, okay, so size. I'm seeing their questions here are a little bit surface. So yeah, that's okay. That's a beginning. And let's see, I'm going to look through here as a teacher real quick and make sure that everyone's, we all have to share responsibility. All right. I want to go a little deeper. I want my class thinking a little deeper. And you know, last week we were working on open and closed questions in class. So class, I want you to notice this section right here. Now I colored these pink and green. Do you know why? I'm going to be silent for a minute, class. I want you to be thinking, what's the difference between the pink ones and the green ones? Now, of course, as a teacher, I would give think time for this, and it would be quiet and it'd be uncomfortable, and I would wait for the chat to start filling up with their answers. And finally, I'd say, you're right. These are closed and open questions. Which color are the closed questions? Which color are the open questions? It's really important that we learn to write essential questions in this class this year. So we're going to practice that. I want you all to go back through the Padlet today when we're off this call. I want you to find one closed question, and I want you to go back to the text set and find the answer to that closed question. When you find the answer, would you come back and add a comment and answer the question right there where the closed question is? And that's your task for today. When you come back tomorrow in the Zoom, we're going to look at some of those answers and analyze why are they closed and what can we do with those open questions. Now, if you want to do a little extra, I'm going to be asking tomorrow for more open questions. So if you want to be thinking about that, you have one of those open burning questions that you just cannot find the answer in that text set, be thinking about that. That's what I'm asking you tomorrow. Have a great day, class. Zoom out. Guys, that's my lesson. Instead of just handing them this text set. Wait, are you curious, David? Did you want to learn more?
Well, I was like, that wasn't very long. How do you know they're learning? That was my question. I was like, wait, that's, okay, you add in the 8-minute times and what? It was like, you're only on the call like 15, 20 minutes? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. I just had that question.
Right. Now I'm going to ask you, David, what if I gave you 30 minutes and I let you go on your own off the call? What would you have done? I know, let's think of high school David. What would high school David have done?
Well, I mean, I think if I had like watched a video or I had been really engaged in one of the things, and I didn't have enough time to finish it in the 8, I might actually go back and like keep watching, because there was definitely more than 8 minutes worth of content, at least video content, on that text set. So I would probably be exploring a little bit with that. I would probably have like looked to see if the cute girl in my class had posted a comment in the Padlet and like looked for what she wrote or something, or like seeing what my friend wrote.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think what high schooler David would have done.
Well, one thing high school people,
but I certainly would have still stayed engaged.
Oh, okay. Well, you were that student, but I know a lot of students that look at it and be like, I'm done. I looked at everything. I know I'm all done with it. When you give a limited amount of time, that first time you do that, they're a little panicked. And then it leaves that idea that every square was something you were supposed to read and learn from. I really want kids to pick and choose and go, oh, I'm just going to stay in this one square the whole 8 minutes and dive in. And you know what? Tomorrow, I love that square so much, I'm going to go back to it. Now, when I come back to you tomorrow, David, I'm going to do a little more metacognition, a little more teaching you how to be a learner, which is very important. And I'm going to say, now, did you feel overwhelmed with only 8 minutes and all those choices? So we're going to do this every day. I want you to just take a little bit of time each day to learn a little something more about refugees. Then together, when we come to our Zoom meeting, you're going to share not only what you've learned, but which section you learned that from, because other people might now want to go check that out that day. And you're just going to take bite-sized nuggets of it every day, rather than sitting and diving in. Now, that's to say, I'll tell you, that top right corner, those maps of the refugees camps, I can't get out of that map. And I want to tell you, class, that's what learning feels like. When you're so curious, you can't stop looking for your answers. And that's where we're going to grow as learners this year, where you get to that point, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I went over the time and I'm still learning. What's happened to me?
I love it. It really makes the learning feel less about like preparing for an event that happens, like a test or a project, and more about like answering a burning question, and then, oh yeah, by the way, you're gonna have to prove you did something along the way, kind of thing. The assessment piece, like I gotta make sure this grade thing, we gotta fill that piece out too. But like everything, the learning, right?
It's not about compliance. We need to get more about, if you want to shift from assigning to instructing, then we have to start thinking of ways to get beyond just compliance education, where I gave you a list of tasks, and here's what I expect from those list of tasks. You go do them, I'll grade them, and we'll move on. It's more about how do you teach kids how to learn, and you can bring in all of your great content to spark that curiosity and that thinking for it, so that there is more engagement, that they're doing it for beyond just the points they're going to get. That's why I left it anonymous on that Padlet, because I didn't want to go through and say, well, you have to post 3 comments on there to get credit. Some kids, you even said you're going to go back and see what your friends posted, right? Some kids are not ready to post, especially when the teacher's going to go back and pull out what people posted. Now, I do have a little trick in there, teachers, so come close. The trick is this. If you go through your Padlet and they're just like, it's your first formative assessment. What do you know? What are they picking up? And if it's really surface level and they're not getting to the level you want, maybe you can post an anonymous post on that Padlet. And then maybe the next day when you go to teach from it, you're like, oh, who wrote this? This is what I've been looking for. You guys, this is great. I'm so excited for this year. Okay, what is great about this a comment that was posted here? Let's analyze this. Y'all get that now? All right, do you think you could write a comment like that today? I want you to dive back in 8 more minutes in that Padlet and then try to post one. I'm going to highlight this one in purple today. Come back. This is your mentor text for that. So just a little teacher tip. You can sometimes, we've got to teach them to give those kinds of responses and that expectation. To me, that's the teaching point in the room, not for me to lecture about the definition of refugees versus immigrants. That's something I have high expectations that they can explore and engage in, and that builds that agency for their own learning, instead of just sitting there saying, it's just a task to get through. And so I'm getting super preachy. I love this topic. I think that multimedia tech sets are the gateway to a HyperDoc, and I'll tell you why. Multimedia text sets are all exploration of content. It's that consuming of information. It's the explore part of a HyperDoc. And HyperDocs, you know the cycle of learning. If you don't know yet, we start with explore, then we go to explain, and then we go to apply the knowledge. A multimedia text set is not a HyperDoc. It's just the explore part. But I'll tell you, if you went straight to a HyperDoc and tried to get kids to explore, they might still be on that compliance thing. Just tell me the task, I'll just get it done. I'll just quickly work through this HyperDoc. This is what teaching in a remote setting could look like. And you could try it out. We've written a lot of courses on this. And I really implore you to try out those courses. Kelly, you want to tell us a little more about those courses?
I'm just still enthralled with your lesson, your passion, Lisa. I've heard you say this 100 times. I still get excited. And it just reminds me too of the excitement that when you are excited in the classroom to be curious and explore, so will your students. And thank you for just breaking down the nitty gritty. That was a beautiful demo lesson. I just think a big aha I just had, I was listening to you as well. When you break down those open and closed-ended questions in the Padlet, it's sort of like when you go to design, are you going to have an open or a closed type lesson?
Ooh, yes.
An open lesson is an invitation. And you know what? Our kids need this more than ever, as Lisa was talking about. They have been in shelter in place in different situations. Man, this is a beautiful opportunity to really teach curiosity. And as you mentioned, multimedia text sets are the gateway to designing HyperDocs and the training wheels. That's a good one too. These courses that are on our website, creating multimedia text sets. So if you want to learn more about that entry point, and the reason we wanted to talk about this today is because, as Sarah mentioned in the beginning so eloquently, we can't do it all at once. And this is a great starting point. If you have school starting in a few weeks and you want to start packaging some text sets as a way to teach your students, lay that as foundation for how to be curious and how you're going to be teaching from the text set, all of these courses, there's a pathway, but you could just go to the one that works best for you. For example, here's how to teach with them. So in the lesson that Lisa just demoed for us, we have 7 lessons on just that topic, on different strategies for facilitating, building curiosity with a multimedia text set, and how that you can build this in for flexible grouping, for conferring with students, for creating reflection opportunities. All of those ideas are packaged here on the website. I just want to also mention that if you're newer to the hyperdocs.co website or Facebook group or learning about HyperDocs, and you've seen just the HyperDoc, or a text set like Lisa mentioned, that is just the beginning. Creating that document, when you create it, we have to think about how we're going to, what that's going to look like when we give it to our students and teach from it. You heard Lisa mention that if we just gave them that text set and said, go ahead and explore, there may or may not be the motivation to explore, especially if you have to answer 10 questions at the end of it. That's not at all how she facilitated it. So the focus of today is how to deliver from the lesson once you've created that. So I want to share my screen one more time because I want to show you another part of our website where we have a whole section on how to deliver instruction and strategies for delivering once you've designed your lesson. Because HyperDocs are really about changing the way we teach with technology and engaging our learners. That's what's embedded here in this course. So I want to invite my group back if they want to have any final words and closure for the day, but very inspiring lesson today. Thank you, Lisa.
It's just,
all right, David. I like that.
Yeah, good student. Yeah, what kind of a student are you? No,
Right.
It's just so fun to remember that at the core of everything we're going through right now is teaching. And I love, Lisa, that you reminded us today about the value of curiosity and true engagement, and how that we use that word so often. But I think that what you modeled for us today is how to cognitively engage kids, how to hook them, tease them a little bit, how to keep our timing tight so that that's another tool to good teaching that we have in our, tool belt. And just thinking about like the heart of all of this work that we're doing is good teaching, solid engagement, designing something that might be simple. It's a Google document with curated links. However, it's how you use it. Yes. And so thank you for that reminder and that inspiration that no matter what tool we use, it's how you use it that seems to kind of matter the most.
And Sarah, I want to touch on that too. I asked David what high school David would have done, but let's really get serious here. What would have high school Lisa have done? I would have been like in my car and out. And so I wasn't the most engaged student, but you know what? I was a very curious student. And so as a teacher, I can't believe I spent my whole life in education when all I did was try to escape it as a kid. But that's another Saturday story. The real thing is that I know we can get bogged down in the minutia of this world of like getting my Zoom call and making sure everyone who's supposed to be in the call is there in the lesson. But if you can step back and think about what you're curious about as a teacher and follow your curiosities and bring that to your students and just bring that craft to your lessons and be real like that. I think that is the number one thing I saw this week with teachers, and reminding teachers to bring your craft and who you are. And you know what? If you don't have a text set ready, put on your camera and turn it to your chart paper and write up some curiosities and get kids thinking, and then just listen to each other. And so give yourself a break that way and follow your joy for learning, what does bring you joy. I know it's kind of cliche, but.
No, but that you just said it, and Kelly and Sarah touched on this too. We're all brand new first year teachers. So we all have this awesome opportunity, and this is what's inspiring me this week, is that we get this opportunity to look at our work, to look at our practice from a whole new perspective and light, and we get to find these silver linings, like I get to teach more creativity, I get to take more time and spend more time on these things, and it's a beautiful thing. If we really look at this and we make the choice to feel happy and positive about this situation and look at all the beautiful skills that we're going to get to work on now, that we didn't get to do before because we were spending all this time making sure we were walking in a straight line between classes, and now we don't have to do that anymore. Yay. Okay, what can we do instead? And I think that's really what is inspiring me. And then, is what you're showing here with these tech sets, is that when we leverage these tools to our advantage, it just gives us more time for the stuff that we got into education to do in the first place.
Right. That's it.
Is that what we're ending on?
That was it. That was it.
That's how it.
Mic drop. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're watching, we really appreciate it. You can head over to our website anytime. We have a fantastic blog where we like to post all of our wonderings and learnings, and so basically this, but in written form with lots of links to everything that we talk about and that sort of stuff. So head on over to our blog, check us out. If you are not so new to HyperDocs and you're looking to get set up within the new Teacher Academy, and you want to start joining that new cohort of teachers really digging into HyperDocs in the next level, you should definitely check out our site right now. We've got a fantastic promotion going on. You get 20% off, which is huge. We've also slashed the price because times are crazy right now. So head over to our blog, get some learning on, and we will see you right back here next week. We do it live every 11 o'clock PST every week. So we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Signing off. Have a great week.